Thanks for being here. Great to see you, of course, as always. So the Iran war is ongoing. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said there could be a deal with Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. It seems like we've been here for weeks on end, going back and forth. You gave an amazing floor speech in the Senate, I believe it was last week, about the need for this threat to be ended. What does the president need to do at this point? And do we really believe that a deal is imminent, or are we buying time? Like, what is going on here?
Well, the president's, of course, got to balance a number of equities here. And look, we have to give this president credit. You know, 6 presidents have gone by and wrestled with this issue. This has been a 47-year threat. And there's a reason why 6 presidents have kicked the can to the next president, because this is a really hard problem to solve. The IRGC and their hold on the nation of Iran and, of course, the broader region. You know, China loves having Iran there, being literally a regional and global state sponsor of terror. They love having discounted oil from the Iranian market. So this is a hard problem to solve, and I give the president a lot of credit, both his first term taking out Soleimani and this one here. And listen, of course, none of us wants more war. At the end of the day, you know, every day we see polls, the war is unpopular, the people don't. Of course it's unpopular. Every war is unpopular. I mean, the pictures of World War II of them celebrating the streets of Manhattan isn't when the war started. It's when it ended. Right. Wars are inherently unpopular. But we also have to recognize and be clear-eyed about the fact that any deal with this regime, any deal, I call it a deal because they will not honor it. They may short-term honor it. We may get the straits open, and the president may be able to negotiate a short-term condition that assuages oil prices and make sure that we bring temporary stability to the region. But make no mistake, whatever deal we have, at some point we are still going to have to reckon with the fact that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, their regional proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, this radical, poisonous ideology of their perversion of Islam wants all of us to be dead.
Right.
They want us and our families dead. They want a civilization gone.
And then they've done a lot of that. They've killed a lot of Americans, including people that you served with overseas. You, of course, served in Iraq and Afghanistan. It seems like, based on what we're hearing and people who I've talked to about this, we're up against a boots-on-the-ground wall. When the president first announced this operation, he specifically addressed the nation, said there are risks to this. Unfortunately, of course, there will be human casualties. Some of our troops will be killed. But he explained it as part of a greater necessity to take on this threat. Do you think that he needs to address the country again when it comes to the potential sacrifices here to actually get the job done? Are we up against this boots on the ground situation where we've done a lot of bombing from the air, but there may be operational factors that we need to employ?
If we rewind to the beginning of this and you look at some of the goals laid out, at no point was a full-scale ground invasion regime change. Iran becomes America's 51st state, where we become the occupier. Right. That was never the plan, and that was never what was promised. And quite frankly, the American people wouldn't stand for it.
And it's probably not necessary.
No, and they've also said, listen, since 1990, Gulf War I, we've been invading Middle Eastern countries. And they're sick of it. They are. American people have said that clearly, and as elected leaders, we have to respect that. They don't want American boys and girls on the ground in the Middle East anymore. And trust me least of anybody. I've been there. My wife has as well. But we also have to recognize that as much as we may be sick and tired of the Middle East and we may be done with them, they're not done with us. And if we don't fight these people there, they will fight us here in Manhattan, in the Pentagon, on the very streets of our nation. They will come here with suicide bombs and machine guns, and they will murder us because that's what they want to do. That's what they feel they've been commanded to do. So I do think the president needs to come out and articulate, once we have a framework of a deal that's real. Again, I think we all have to understand that that deal will probably be a short-term agreement. It's probably not going to be a multi-year agreement to bring peace to the region. Hopefully it is. Listen, I'd love it if they did. Let's be very clear. If there was some deal that the deal team negotiated that truly brought peace to the region, I don't think anybody would be upset about that. But we have to be realistic about who we're dealing with.
There also seems to be a lot of talk about management, and I'm not sure that managing a regime is what the American people signed up for either. It's complicated. But let's move to a different topic. You, of course, before you got into politics, into your position here in Washington, you ran a firefighting, wilderness firefighter business. You know better than anybody about the way that our forests are mismanaged. A Spokane, Washington man was just arrested and charged with setting one of the 3 devastating fires that are currently raging now. Of course, 70,000 people have had to evacuate. This happens in the West every single year. I'm from Arizona. Spent a lot of my time in Wyoming, Colorado. What does the left get wrong about forest management? I mean, this is a predictable problem, and yet we're not seeing it happening in the way that needs to be done.
When a hurricane is rumored to be approaching the Gulf Coast, Everybody's evacuated. No questions asked. Unlimited money spent. You know, shops are boarded up. People evacuated. 18-wheelers full of water. The guard is mobilized. Tornadoes happen. No questions asked. Immediate mobilization. You know, we have this reaction in America to natural disasters. We're going to do everything we possibly can to protect our communities. And yet, when it comes to wildfire, we kind of just accept it. Oh, well, every summer it's normal. Oh, well, this town burned down. LA's gone. Spokane's getting burned down. You know, Paradise, California's gone. And we just accept that nothing we can do about it. You know, with a hurricane, nothing you can do to stop a hurricane. It's coming. Act of God. You can actually fight a fire and you can prevent it. And for years, the unholy alliance between radical environmentalist groups, you know, we have environmental activists in our own government throughout the agencies partner with activists, judges, and lawyers to make sure that any logging project, any forest thinning project, any prescribed burn, any fire hardening routine is sued into oblivion.
Yes.
Years and years of permitting, and it never happens. And then the forests become overgrown. The fuels management project is canceled, and then when the forest burns, it wipes out a whole town with it. So,
and not to mention the environmental aspect that it destroys the environment. It destroys the endangered species that they claim that they're protecting. We've talked to Interior Secretary Doug Burgum about this a number of times. What is on the table now? Is there legislation? Are there regulations and rules that the agencies, the executive branch can pull back to do exactly what you're talking about?
There are both. So in the wake of the Pacific Palisades fires last year, most Americans, 2/3 of America, think wildfire is just, you know, kind of this abstract concept. When they turned on the news last January and saw America's largest city burning to the ground, they were like, wow, this is for real.
Right.
So since then, the president's been very active in mobilizing the executive branch. Secretary Burgum has been great. Secretary Rollins has been great as far as what they can do within the executive branch. We've passed some great bipartisan bills, some even by UC, to address this. But there's a lot more to do, and we have to finish the job.
Senator Sheehy, great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.